Snow White and her non-binary dwarfs are struggling to survive. Yesterday, Disney released their quarterly earnings report. I use the word earnings very loosely here. If you're a Disney shareholder, if you have a financial interest in the land of rainbows and wiener, then you already know there were no earnings last quarter. This report should have been called quarterly losses because the magical land of the non-binary is rapidly hemorrhaging money. Once this report was released yesterday, Disney shareholders lost another $10 a share. Their value has declined 46% in the last 4 years. Just think about that for a second. On paper, Disney has lost damn near half of its value in the last 4 years. How? How in the hell did this happen? Uncle KC, parents no longer trust Disney with their children. They tried to convince the children that LGBT's the way to be. Yeah, that definitely played a massive role. That was definitely the spark that lit this flaming ass fire. I can't remember the last time Disney produced a profitable film. Hell, the WNBA at this point might be more profitable than Disney, and the dump is still using Ethiopian breadcrumbs as their preferred currency. One of the other reasons Disney is struggling is because the polish is finally melting off one of their prized turds. This ongoing dispute between YouTube TV and the worldwide leader in woke ESPN, this ongoing dispute has exposed and severely damaged ESPN's value. Historically, when ESPN has extorted TV providers for more money, ESPN had most of the leverage in the dispute. Especially if the dispute happened during football season, which, ironically enough, these carriage disputes always seem to happen in the fall. You know, we rarely see ESPN extorting providers during the summer. From May to August, ESPN seems to get along fine with providers. But once we get into the fall, the network tries to extort higher fees from their providers, which means they are demanding that you pay more money for their unbelievably bad content. Strange. Going into this dispute with YouTube TV, I'm sure ESPN thought that they had all the leverage like they always had before. They had yes men like Stephen A. Smith pushing customers to sign up with other cable and satellite providers, or pushing customers to sign up for the most overpriced streaming service on the market, ESPN Plus, or whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays. With their offering of college football, college basketball, the NBA. Well, Casey, don't forget about women's college basketball. Yeah, sure. With their plethora of live sports, ESPN thought that consumers would just abandon YouTube TV and beg ESPN to allow them to pay ESPN $30 every month to have the privilege of watching Mina Kimes pretend to analyze the NFL. There was just one problem, though, one tiny problem. ESPN thought wrong. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So I get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. My uncle called me last Monday. Now, he's a military veteran, served in the Gulf War in the early 90s. As he's gotten older, he's been dealing with various health-related issues. Doctors had him on pain management. They had him taking all this medicine just so he could sleep at night, most of which wasn't working. Once the meds wore off, he was tossing and turning yelling all night and keeping my poor aunt awake all night. Plus, he was building up a tolerance to the medicine. Last month, my aunt bought him some CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. She wanted him to try it out just to see if it would work. He applies the CBD lotion every night before bed, getting the best sleep he's gotten in years. He doesn't even take the pain medication anymore because he doesn't need it. Recently, I gave some of the CBD lotion to my dad. Now, my dad's been installing and repairing sprinkler systems my entire life, so he's developed pain in his knees. Hates taking pills, so I gave him some of the CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain to try. His knees are now pain-free at 74 years old. All CBD products offered at Sugar Mountain Trading, 100% natural, 100% free of THC. So click the link in the description below. They have upped their discount code for the holidays. New discount code, BTL35. Receive 35% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. According to Clay Travis, Disney is losing $30 million a week in their dispute with YouTube TV. How much is YouTube losing? Not a damn thing. Contrary to their incredibly flawed belief, customers are not willing to switch providers just so they have access to Monday Night Football. And they're damn sure not willing to switch providers to have access to the NBA. You know how I have been telling you guys for years that ESPN needs the NBA to survive? We're seeing an example of that right now. Credit where credit is due. Adam Silver might be a giant wuss when it comes to leading players, leading men, but Adam Silver is one hell of a negotiator. In their last negotiations for broadcast rights, Adam Silver made sure to diversify the NBA's package. Instead of being heavily reliant on ESPN and their absolute garbage coverage of the league, Adam Silver sold the NBA to Amazon and NBC, two networks who know how to provide adequate coverage. Right now, ESPN only has one night of the week to broadcast the NBA. NBC, along with their streaming service, the Peacock, NBC, Peacock, Amazon, they're carrying the NBA the rest of the week, which means if you're a fan of the NFL and NBA, you no longer need ESPN. But Casey, ESPN still has Monday Night Football. That game every week is huge! No one cares about Monday Night Football. I am a diehard fan of the NFL, although I'm not nearly as passionate about the league as I used to be, mainly because the NFL is painfully boring most weeks. But by the time we get to Monday, I am tired of watching football. I need a break. We have games on Thursday, Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, plus my daughter's flag football games. My nephews are now playing flag football. By the time we get to Monday, I'm exhausted. The oversaturation of the NFL product, it has devalued Monday Night Football. And I think the oversaturation of sports in general has drastically devalued ESPN. Now, this is just me speculating here, but it is educated speculation. I'm basing most of this on what I have heard from this audience in the last few months. Yesterday, one of my viewers sent me some interesting data. The data showed how many streaming services were required and how many individual packages were required just to watch the NFL and NBA. Now, keep in mind, this is just two leagues. This does not include Major League Baseball, doesn't include college basketball. What, does it include the NHL? If you're a fan of the NFL and NBA, it costs you over $2,300 a year just to watch both leagues. If you're married, got a girlfriend living with you, if you have kids, you're spending even more because wife and kids, they need something to watch too. Last I checked, ESPN was not broadcasting the Real Housewives who used to be guys. The truth is, ESPN isn't nearly as valuable to the consumer as it was 5 years ago. When you combine that with the plethora of mistakes Disney has made, you have a corporation that's lost nearly half its value in 4 years. And they have no one to blame but themselves. When we look back at this 10 years from now, I think this push to streaming is going to be viewed as a major mistake. We already had the perfect setup. Cable, satellite, that was all we needed. But KC cable and satellite were far too expensive. It was costing people over $100 a month. Yeah, no shit. This isn't the 90s. This isn't the 2000s. Professional athletes are no longer making $4 or $5 million a year. Production costs for sitcoms, production costs for crime dramas, it's all gone up. You can't expect to pay the same price for cable that you were paying 20, 30 years ago. But there was a benefit to cable, a benefit that streaming can't provide. Cable had everything in one place. Everything was easily accessible. If you're a sports fan, major broadcast networks had the NFL. Regional networks had every game for the NBA, Major League Baseball during the regular season. All your wife had to do was pull up the guide to find her reality shows featuring women pretending to fight with each other. Now, you got to have Hulu for this show, Netflix for another show, Disney Plus for the kids. You need 7 different packages to watch the NFL and NBA. How many times have you been scrolling for something to watch and you were bombarded with so many options available that you got overwhelmed and just ended up watching nothing? It's happened to me before. I'll be looking for something new to watch. I'm scrolling through an abundance of garbage. I eventually give up and rewatch Breaking Bad for the 1,000th time. The networks and the leagues, they are extorting fans for every dollar they can get. Whether it's TV packages, expensive tickets, gambling, they are trying to take all our money. And this dispute between ESPN and YouTube TV, for the first time, it seems like fans are finally saying enough is enough. I am not canceling my primary provider because ESPN wants me to pay more for their polished turds. ESPN's ratings recently are down. Ratings for college football? Down. Meanwhile, YouTube seems to be unaffected. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.